Day 3 superlatives. Breech and I don't even have these because we don't know the names of these guys for the most part. So we will start with you, Josh. The best individual pick of day 3, rounds 4 through 7, is
Zac Tom, the offensive lineman from Wake Forest, going to the Green Bay Packers. They are a team that values versatile offensive linemen. He's a very athletic player. So I'm intrigued by the opportunity for him to go play in Green Bay for a wide zone blocking scheme that is going to allow him to use his athleticism in space. This is a team that historically likes to find their offensive linemen on day 3. So you're walking into an opportunity where they are going to give him a fair chance to earn a valuable role on that offensive line. So I think it's a great opportunity for him. And I think it's a great pick for the Green Bay Packers because I had him as a much higher value.
Zac Tom is first ballot Hall of Fame double first name.
There's also a Zachary Thomas in this class. So that could have been, and they're both offensive linemen. So it could have been very confusing.
But like Zac Tom is
very cool.
Sounds more like a folk, bassist, maybe, something in that regard.
Yeah.
I mean, Zac Tom.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Toms I've heard of, like David Toms. Do you know anybody whose last name is Tom?
No.
I didn't until just now. I mean,
Zac Tom. That sounds made up.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Traps. And I'm not dogging on Zac Tom. I'm thinking about like, is there a better 2 first name, full name than Zac Tom?
Like in the whole world?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
My stepfather-in-law thought for a long, basically my father-in-law, but like he basically thought for a long time that my name was Brinson. Because everyone calls you. And he was like, Brinson, what's your first name? Or what's your last name? I was like, Brinson. He was like, your name is Brinson. That is weird. I was like, no, my name is Will. Travis, what you got for Ryan Wilson is actually a good double first name too.
Elton John.
Elton's not that common.
John as the last name is as crazy as Tom as the last name.
Yeah, but Zach is way more common than Elton.
I'm talking about the last name.
I'm talking about the combo.
Chris Paul.
It's got to be.
Oh! Nice work, Josh Tom. All right, Traps, what do you have for your best pick? Frank Vincent's good too. What do you got for your best third day pick?
Ravens cornerback Jalen Armour Davis from Alabama. Now, he's interesting in that he was a big recruit, obviously, at Alabama, was in the same high school class and just a little bit below, like Asante Samuel Jr., Patrick Surtain, Tyson Campbell, who were all early picks last year, first and second rounders, respectively. And he was a one-year starter for the Crimson Tide, and I thought his film was awesome. Like his traits in 2021 that he showed, the speed down the football field, being able to mirror, stay with routes at the intermediate level or on vertical routes. He had 3 interceptions. I was watching him. I was like, is this a first or a second round corner? They get him on day 3. And he kind of fits the mold of what Baltimore wants to do. They're going to blitz a lot and play a lot of press man coverage on the outside. He's a little bit of an enigma because he did not play multiple seasons as a full-time starter. Most of the Alabama corners come in with multiple seasons producing and just getting a lot of experience. So he doesn't have that. That's probably why he fell. But in terms of pure talent and then what he did show in the one season in Nick Saban's defense, I think it's just a perfect transition for him to go from that scheme to the Baltimore Ravens in the 4th round.
All right. I dig it. Breech, what do you think about those 2 picks specifically? What, we talk about their athletic traits and how they fit into the schemes. What do you think?
Well, I think that Aaron Rodgers is probably pretty happy that he has Zac Tom as a teammate. And I think that I'm going to trust that the Ravens made a smart pick because they made a bunch of smart picks, which I'll talk about later. Foreshadowing. Thank you.
That
Boom.
right there, Breech, is elite day 3 like
Filler.
draft show content.
Yes.
Where
that was good.
You're on the set and whoever the host is throws to you and you have no effing idea who the draft pick is.
You gotta be ready to go.
Like,
Ready to go at all
I've never heard
times.
of this guy. I've never heard of that school. I don't know what position he plays. And you're like, here's the thing is like, but he's a receiver, right? You're like, and you look at his 40 time, it's like 4.7. You're like, yeah, he's not a speed guy. This is someone who loves to be a contested catch guy, high point the ball. And of course, when you look at this draft class and that depth chart, it totally makes sense that this, and that's just got to do. You got to kind of.
How about the fact that we had Kobe Bryant, Isaiah Thomas, and Chris Paul all drafted on day 3 of the draft? I thought that was
nearly
cool.
had we were talking about this last night. Anyway, yeah, no, it's cool. Crazy. That's actually like a thing though, where we're so old that there are children now named after the NBA stars that we watched. You're like, why would somebody name their kid Kobe Bryant? It's because they loved Kobe Bryant and they have children now. Best quarterback selection. Josh, do not call them the Commanders.
And this is
whatever alternate name you want, and call them something else.
For people wondering, this is day 3 only, so all the day 2 guys don't count on this.
Yeah, I think I forced Traps to change his answer here. I thought we were going to double dip, but I went with Sam Howell to the Washington Commandos. Just a really, he's a smart player. He's a good leader, has been incredibly productive in crucial situations dating back to his freshman year, throws the deep ball with good touch. One thing that we've discussed about as a potential concern is that he encourages too much contact as a runner. I mean, he seeks it out. He has to take fewer hits in the NFL, but a guy that I think when you look at his leadership, his ability to lead his team in crunch time, I think that's the kind of traits that you look for as a low-end starter, maybe even just a long-term backup for your organization.
I'm not commenting on Sam Howell. I actually think Sam Howell is going to be a good quarterback at the pro level, and I think Sam Howell's production will greatly exceed his draft spot. This is kind of a good landing spot, but I'm not sure that, like, is he definitely ahead of Taylor Heineke on the depth chart? Like, I like the pick by Washington, and I really like Sam Howell. Like, I think he's got a good deep ball. Well,
here's my question: is how do you feel if you're the Commanders and you get to training camp and Carson Wentz is the 3rd best quarterback on your roster?
You don't feel great about it.
That's what EK said, I think. Yeah,
because that seems like a legit worry.
They will force Carson Wentz in there, even though Sam Howell outplays him and Taylor Heineke outplays him.
Because then nobody will ever know that the other two are better than him.
That's right. Yeah, it's like Ron Rivera's got a handsaw, like just going at the hamstrings of Heineke and Howell. He's like, all right, we're gonna sign. He's like, is Kyle Allen still around? We need somebody who Carson Wentz can definitely beat out. Anywho, Traps, who's your guy still on the screen too, right?
Yes, Bailey Zappy. I agree with everything Josh said, but I just didn't want to double dip. Bailey Zappy, and it's easy for me to say this without Ryan Wilson on the podcast because he loved Mac Jones last year. He was early on the Mac Jones train as a first rounder. I did not see it with Mac Jones whatsoever. I thought Mac Jones had a very overrated rookie season, and it kind of showed late in his rookie year that he was not very good in his first season. So I like the Bailey Zappy pick because I think he's kind of an opposite of Mac Jones type quarterback, and that he's going to throw it downfield, even if he does make a mistake or he's not accurate. The next throw, he's going to rip it through a tight window. Now, the offense at Western Kentucky was very wide open. He threw 60 touchdowns, whatever it was, because they were in 5 wide and they just threw it like 4 verticals on every play. But I think he's got good pocket presence. The arm strength, in my opinion, isn't much worse, and it could be even better than Mac Jones. So for the Patriots to pick him there was a little surprising. Maybe that makes Mac Jones a loser that we can talk about later. But I was pretty happy watching Bailey Zappy's film, feeling like he would have been a 4th or a 5th round pick. Didn't think he would go to the Patriots, but I think he lands in a situation where, of course, the Patriots want Mac Jones to be the starter after their record with him as the as their starter last year. But I think Bailey Zappy is actually in a nice situation, especially now that he wasn't undrafted or a 7th rounder. To be an early day 3 pick, I think they have a fair amount of confidence in him, ultimately becoming at least a quality backup on that roster.
By the way, I got to take an L here. I'm an idiot. I mentioned Michael Carter and
you did not say Breece Hall.
I didn't say Breece Hall. I'm an idiot. And Debo's in there like making fun of me, like kind of passive aggressively in the I was like, what is he talking about? Why is he like giving Mike Kinney props? I'm surprised more people didn't catch that and dunk on me for it. That's on me. Forgot they drafted Breece Hall. We did so the first 2 nights of the draft. We were doing these like on demand videos, and I feel like I missed several key picks. What was Breece Hall's number? What did he go? He was
36, 37?
Yeah.
36.
Like, who had just been drafted when Breece Hall? Did we do some kind of video right before Breece Hall got drafted?
No.
Crazy? Nope. Debo says nope. Nope. You're right. Debo's right. We didn't.
We did, however, on the show with Emory Hunt, I did say that Breece Hall was a dream scenario for the Jets. So maybe that's what you were thinking about.
And just to be clear, Brinson, I actually didn't see Mike's comment there about Breece Hall. I was referring to the comment that said, gets to learn under Super Bowl winner Carson Wentz.
I like the fact that we saw like JP Finley, friend of the pod, great dude in general, is like and like people around who cover Washington, the Commandos, were tweeting out, I don't think Carson Wentz will be too bothered by them taking the quarterback with the first pick in the 5th round. It's like, if Carson Wentz gets like bothered by this, like, seek help, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, they draft a quarterback with the first pick in the 5th round. And you're like, I know this is my 3rd team in 3 years, but this is unacceptable.
Where did Ellinger go last year? 4th or 5th?
He's so soft. Put a Sam Howell statue out in front of FedEx Field. Carson Wentz is gone in 3 months. But yeah, Mike, shout out to Mike Kinney. Nailed it in the chat. Send him a pint glass, Debo.
Wentz is texting his agent right now and trying to get traded out of Washington.
They drafted someone in the 5th round to be on the depth chart with me. All right, best wide receiver selection, day 3. Josh, what you got?
I went with Michael Woods to the Cleveland Browns because the Browns needed wide receivers. Yes, it is a homer pick. But Oklahoma did not target the boundary that often, which is where Michael Woods was playing. I mean, he's an Arkansas transfer, a guy that's probably going to be used more in the slot moving forward, but a willing blocker, so a guy that you can trust having on the field when you're in run situations where in that wide zone blocking scheme, you're going to be asking your wide receivers to block in space, and he was willing to do so when he was in Norman. So I think it's a good fit. I like his upside. When you're talking about the run on the position that we had in the first 2 days, you know, you're taking a flyer on players on day 3. I mean, you're hoping that they can tap into some of the traits that they have shown in the past. And I think that's what Cleveland was doing here, getting a guy that maybe was not used to his full capabilities at Oklahoma.
Traps.
All right, I'm going to stick with the homer theme and go with Khalil Shakir of the Buffalo Bills. And I'm going to go super nerdy. Will called me Warren Sharp in the Slack room earlier. So I'm going to go super nerdy.
Whoa.
I thought you did, which is totally fine. But I'm going to go Warren Sharp.
Those are Slack chats.
Well, we do it sometimes. Warren Sharp.
Warren just had this weird tweet. He's like, ugh, what a bad omen for Mac Jones. The only time in history that a 4th – it was some bizarre stat about like David Carr didn't work out in Houston because they drafted a quarterback and the correlation causation it just didn't make any damn sense. And that's what
I'm going to go with my Warren Sharp-esque stat that last year the Bills.
Did you think that was a compliment? Because it was not.
No, I thought it was a diss. So I'm going to write it out. That the Bills had the 2nd lowest average yards after the catch per reception in the NFL. Only the Dolphins were lower. So the Bills were great on offense, but they did not really create after the catch. You watch Khalil Shakir's film, that's where he excels. He's kind of built like a running back, not a crazy athlete. Pretty good tracking the football in the back shoulder game down the field, but he's going to be good on slants, on bubble screens, on short routes from Josh Allen that he can turn a 5-yard pass into a 15 or 20-yard gain. So I think on day 3 to trade up to get him in the 5th round is exactly what the Bills needed, just to kind of add another layer to their offense.
Oh, I know what it was. You called, by the way, Breech, if you want to say something, go ahead. I mean, we've tried to blitzkrieg through these day 3 stuff as fast as possible.
I'll just, I actually have a receiver, so I'll throw in real quick. Calvin Austin, who went to the Steelers. I'm picking a rival team. One. I was, after the Steelers took George Pickens in the 2nd round, I thought they were done taking receivers. I thought this was a surprise, but I feel like it's a good pick because Calvin Austin, was it 4th round where he got taken?
Yep.
Yeah, 4th round, 138th pick. And this guy is athletic. I mean, he's somebody who could have gone maybe a little bit earlier. I think one of the knocks on him, which I can relate to, is his height. He's a short guy. He's only, I think, 5'8". But I think he is someone who is one of those guys, you put the ball in his hands, I think he had the 3rd or 4th fastest 40 time at the combine. He's somebody who could be doing big things for the Steelers next year.
I got nothing on these. I looked at these wide receivers. I got nothing. I'm going to give a shout out to Montreal Washington because he went to Sanford.
Good
Sanford.
player. Yeah.
Sanford, as we know,
had a really good game against Florida.
There you go. Oh, that's right. Good call. Yeah, there was no Warren Sharp slander, by the way, just to be clear. Like Traps in Slack said, Mac Jones is a loser. They drafted Bailey Zappy. Like the Patriots draft a quarterback every year. Mac Jones is fine. I do like Bailey Zappy though.
Brinson's already backtracking.
I don't want somebody clipping this and be like Brinson hates Warren Sharp. Warren's been on the pod a billion times.
Yeah, he's great.
Best running back selection, day 3 for you, Josh.
I went with Missouri's Tyler Beatty going to the Baltimore Ravens. It's obviously a running back friendly system. He was an undervalued player, in my opinion. He's a little bit undersized, but he plays bigger than that. And he's fantastic in the pass catching game. So I think he gives them a little bit more of a dynamic ability as a pass catcher. And they need depth. I mean, we saw how they ran through it this past year. So to bring in another guy that I think plays bigger than his size and can contribute in the pass game, I think is a big win for a team that really leans on the run game.
Traps, who you got? I would, before you say it, I'm just going to, so I look like I know what I'm talking about, at least to a small degree. Isaiah Spiller with, you look at what the Chargers have had in the running game the last few years. Like Austin Eckler's just, what are you laughing at, Breech? Austin Eckler,
you cut off Traps. And then
I was looking at the
winner
thing, I was like, wait,
I
love this Isaiah Spiller pick.
It's all good. It's all good.
I knew Traps had Isaiah Spiller written down, but I was looking at the draft tracker and it's like, I like Justin Jackson, but if Austin Eckler gets hurt, it feels like the Chargers offense really bogs down. And now maybe Traps, they have some good depth at the position with a young guy like Isaiah Spiller.
Yeah, I agree. I love Isaiah Spiller. Breech, what do you got?
You know who really impressed me? Isaiah Spiller.
Oh, up high, down hard. That may be the funniest thing you've ever. Josh, that was beautiful. Good work. Who's your best, most surprising undrafted player? I'm just kidding. Who are your running backs?
Yeah, I mean, I think we already covered Spiller, the whole team besides me. So I'll go with Treston Ebner of the Chicago Bears out of Baylor. Abram Smith was kind of the workhorse there for the Baylor Bears. I didn't see it with him. I'm pretty sure he didn't get picked. Yeah, he didn't get picked. Ebner is a really dynamic return guy. He's got a thick lower half. The change of direction ability and contact balance I thought were certainly draftable. And the Bears, they have David Montgomery, who's kind of a side-to-side running back, not really fast. I liked Khalil Herbert last year out of Virginia Tech, who played well when David Montgomery was injured. But to get someone in Treston Ebner who really has some juice down the football field, we know that whole Baylor program was kind of like a track team out there on the football field. I believe he ran somewhere in the mid 4.4s at the combine. That can be your punt returner as well if he's not, the running back too early on. So I thought that was good value for a Bears team trying to build around Justin Fields in the future.
I was surprised his teammate, Abram Smith, didn't get drafted either. I thought they were similar players, thought he would have been taken somewhere.
Is Snoop Connor insane to throw out there?
No, it's not. He's good.
First of all, insane, incredible name.
That is awesome. Yeah.
And the weird thing with
go to the Jags, right? Jags, yeah.
So they loved James Robinson before, then they didn't like the new one
because of Urban.
Yeah, so it's hard, and they have ETN coming back, and obviously like ETN was going to be that like Percy Harvin role or whatever Urban's going to do with him, make him a slot receiver, but he tears his ACL. And so like that depth chart is very weird, but I think Snoop Connor's a nice value there, even if he doesn't see a ton of time. All right. Most surprising undrafted player. I'm going to name someone that you guys won't name because I've seen who you're going to name. I think Justin Ross going undrafted is pretty crazy. Like I know his medicals are a disaster, but like he was really good at Clemson. So that's my guy. Who you got? Josh.
I went with Arizona State offensive guard Donavan West, just a really athletic player that can play in space. I think he's a fantastic fit for a wide zone blocking scheme, and half the league employs that scheme at this point in time. It's difficult to find quality offensive linemen, so I'm a little surprised that somebody didn't take a chance on him there. Does a good job of sealing backside blocks, all that kind of stuff. So he's one of the more intriguing players, I think, as we hit undrafted free agency.
I already named my guy, Traps. I don't know who the hell Josh is talking about. Go ahead.
I'll go with Mario Goodrich. And as we were signing on, Debo let me know that kind of told all of us that Goodrich signed with the Eagles to like an unprecedentedly large undrafted free agent contract. Mario Goodrich from Clemson played opposite Andrew Booth, who obviously went early in the second round. He doesn't have great speed, and he's a little bit skinny. Like he would get out physicaled by bigger receivers at times. But if you're looking for short area quickness, and I think that's really important at the cornerback spot today with how good these route runners are at the NFL level, that's where Mario Goodrich excelled. And he wasn't like a 4-year starter with tons of productivity, but in the final season in 2021, I thought he was certainly worth being selected. And again, like I've been telling Debo to kind of expose our Slack room again. Like this draft keeps coming up Debo over and over again to get a player that I thought was like a 4th or a 5th round caliber corner and just get him on the free agent ranks, I think was a pretty surprising development. He's a player that underneath and at the intermediate level can be a good cornerback in that Eagles kind of zone heavy scheme.
And I'll throw in Carson Strong, the Nevada quarterback. I thought for sure we would see him get drafted, and then maybe you get to the first 2 rounds and there's no quarterbacks and you're thinking, oh my God, every quarterback's falling down. And it just felt like teams didn't think the quarterback class was that good. But even then, like the Steelers drafted a quarterback in the 7th round. I thought Carson Strong would have been a good spot there, even though they also had Kenny Pickett. Just keep bringing in the rookie quarterbacks. If you're going to take a second one, I thought he would have made more sense. Or even the 49ers with their last pick, whatever. You have Trey Lance, you have Jimmy Garoppolo, but if you're going to take a flyer on a quarterback, I would have taken Carson Strong over Brock Purdy.
Did he sign with anybody yet, Debo?
Also a Philadelphia Eagle.
Now
Carson Strong, the best Carson ever played for the Eagles, yes or no?
Oh yeah.
By the way, do you guys did